Welcome to Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth. Gary Helt is excited to bring you another powerful conversation to help you grow and protect your business and finances. Today's episode is hosted by a special guest, personally selected by Gary, so you can keep learning and moving forward even when Gary is off the mic. Settle in and enjoy today's insights.
Welcome to Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth. I am your host, Ken May, the tax planning specialist with BA Services, Inc. and Overtime IQ, where we go above compliance and beyond expectations, helping clients make smart, proactive financial decisions. Today, I'm joined by Rusty Fulling, founder and CEO of Fulling Management and Accounting, Inc., a trusted partner to small business owners who want to simplify their finances and grow with clarity. We'll be talking about how to build a stronger business foundation through outsourced accounting management insight and practical tax strategy. Rusty Fulling serves as founder and CEO of Fulling Management and Accounting, Inc. in
Olathe, Kansas.
Okay. Since April of 2000, over 25 years, Rusty and his team have provided virtual CFO and accounting services focused on helping business leaders get clarity, grow profits, and gain peace of mind. With a passion for mentoring, Rusty seamlessly integrates faith, storytelling, and humor into his leadership approach. Beyond the professional realm, he's a dedicated family man, celebrating 34 years of marriage with his bride, Pam, and loves hanging out with their two daughters, son-in-law, and active granddaughters. So, Rusty, first question for you. Tell me a little bit about your journey and what inspired you to start Fulling Management and Accounting.
Hey, Ken, good to see you. And yeah, I think we're both in the same somewhat industry, in the accounting industry. But yeah, I was working at a CPA firm years ago and just felt burned out. You've probably never experienced that, but just hit that burnout stage where to the point where I ended up in the hospital. Ken, I actually was hospitalized because of acid reflux symptoms that were just eating away at my body. And the doctor laughed. He goes, "Hey, this is stress. This is just a stress situation." And it wasn't too long after that, a friend of mine said, "I can't believe you haven't started your own company." And it was just the affirmation of a friend that propelled me to go, "Hey, I might be able to do this."
It's interesting. Acid reflux, huh? That's funny because my wife has that. Only she's got it. She's got acid reflux in her throat now.
Yes.
And that is something different.
It is something different. And I know in my case, they said, you keep this up, esophageal cancer may be in your future. And so that, those are wake up calls. Yeah. When you have a hospital stay, or I know you and I have talked about some of your wife's situation as well, but so yeah, that was a prompting, but we started with 3 little clients all those years ago. And one of those little clients are one of our biggest clients today, Ken. So it's been fun to get to grow with them. And so, yeah, we provide primarily the fractional CFO work, and then we'll come along and do some of the accounting and even bookkeeping if we're doing that fractional CFO side.
Okay. So many small business owners struggle to understand their financial reports. What's the first step in turning numbers into meaningful insight?
Yeah, a lot of times it's about story. I don't know if you ever had those clients where they just see the numbers and their eyes gloss over, but when you can make it a story that resonates, that's part of the magic. And a lot of times we'll hear those that go, "I don't even look at the balance sheet because that doesn't mean anything. Let me just look at the income statement." I'm like, no, the balance sheet is so much story there. What do you own? What do you owe? And what's left over, in equity. And so I think some of it is just that clarity. What should I be looking at? And what's my cash position? How much income do I have? Do I have the B word, the budget, or a spending plan? So you have some type of guide. But to me, it's all about story. If the numbers aren't telling a story, you probably need a new storyteller.
So what do you do with clients that never look at their financial statements?
Yeah. Yeah, we've had clients that say, I want my financial statements squeezed down into three line items. Like, oh boy, how do we do that? Make it meaningful. And so sometimes it's understanding the communication style of a business owner. And often we use tools like DISC or Working Genius or different things where we can understand what is it that drives them. And so it could be, again, using story, it could be using illustrations, using graphs and charts and things that they're going to gravitate to. Not everyone is the same. And so finding what resonates. And so I was with a group of doctors that we used to give a 20-page financial statement to every month, Ken. And it would you just about put them to sleep when you hand them this 20-page report. But page 7 was their favorite page. That was the bonus page. What's my bonus going to be this month? And so I got to the point where I just said, "Hey, let's all turn to page 7. Let's skip everything else. Look at." But page 7 actually had some great information. In order to get a bonus, they have to have a strong balance sheet. They have to have income, all the things that drive that. So, what is it that's meaningful for the business owner?
Yep, everyone's different.
That's right. That's
Sure.
right.
So what's the biggest mistake you see entrepreneurs make when trying to handle their accounting in-house?
Mm. Yeah, well, the biggest, or yeah, there's different ones, but sometimes it's trust without we call it trust without verify. So I'm just going to have my bookkeeper do everything for me, and they'll keep things. And we had one years ago where a bookkeeper all of a sudden the bills weren't getting paid, and the owner was like, "What is going on here?" And noticed the bookkeeper was driving a brand new truck, and well, yeah, you know where this is going, Ken. The bookkeeper would get a bill in the mail for this business and they just stick it in the box. But when it came to their personal transportation, well, guess what? They wrote checks out of the company checkbook to fund some of their new transportation. So part of that is make sure there's some accountability, some checks and balances in place. I mean, that's a basic, there's so many others we could talk about, but those are some basics. So that, inspect what you expect is a good model.
Okay. So how does outsourcing financial management help a business grow more strategically?
Mm. So when I started back in 2000, I had a group of MBA students that I was assigned to by one of the local colleges, and I asked them to go out and help me secure one new client, one new CFO client. And they worked the whole semester, Ken, and they couldn't get one new client. Nobody wanted to outsource 25 years ago. And so what's fascinating is you fast forward 25, 26 years down the road, and often it's, oh, you're not outsourcing. It's almost, that whole mindset has changed. And so there's so much value in having some arm's length, somebody that's maybe not in the weeds of the day to day, where they're really focused on the bigger picture of the company. And so I would say that that's part of it. I think the other thing, fractional is so helpful. You hear fractional CMOs, your marketing, your IT. There's so many fractional pieces out there. And if you can just tap into the fractional pieces you need, small businesses now can have a whole group of management level people for a fraction of the time, fraction of the cost that they need. So I think there's a lot of value that people just need to, understand what's available and then tap into what they need.
So speaking of those other services, are you going to build your practice like a family office and be able to offer
Mm,
more of those fractional services
mm.
to these business owners?
Great. Hey, great question. And yeah, we may have to combine services and do something like that. But what we found really helpful is staying in our lane. We're
Mhm.
really good at this, but bringing in those others sometimes convolute what you're doing. And so just make sure you're strategic in that. For us, it's really staying in that CFO lane, that accounting lane. Um, yeah, years ago, Ken, probably day one, we were doing website design and all kinds of other things like this, yeah, we could do it, but that was not our core business. And so I think too many people try to do everything and you end up doing nothing good, but you can, do a lot of stuff.
Okay. So what key metrics or reports should every business owner review monthly to stay on top of performance?
Mm. Yeah, key metrics I think is going to vary per company. We use a lot of the traditional things like a balance sheet. What's our cash position? So a balance sheet, a profit and loss statement, and a cash flow statement. Those would be when you're thinking accounting, kind of maybe three that we would see probably 90% of our clients using those three. But when you talk about KPIs and other metrics, there's so many other things that drive the business. For instance, one of the things we use internally is what we call Raving Fan Award. So Raving Fan shout outs. So when clients give us a raving fan shout out, like, oh, Ken did this amazing project for me. I've got so much more clarity. We check that off as a raving fan comment. Our team members that were shouted out gets gift cards. We're tracking that for the year. But the cool thing, if you think about that, Ken, is that's a metric that we're tracking because that's client satisfaction. Most likely the client's doing well financially. They have some new processes in place that are giving them clarity. So there's so many things in those metrics that, don't just stick with the tried and true from, the 1930s, but come up with some things that are meaningful for you and your company.
Right. So going back to your financial statements, do you do general financial statements? Everybody's got the same one,
Mm.
or do you do customized financial statements? And what's the difference?
Yeah, yeah. So, kind of going back to the communication style of the business owner, if you cookie cutter, if you do them all the same, they're not going to be meaningful for some. So there is some customization for some. We'll do some deep analytics for certain clients that want a lot of detail, and then we'll do maybe a little higher level overview for those clients that they don't want them. But the neat thing is it's all based on, or most of it's all going to be based on a balance sheet, a profit and loss statement, and a cash flow forecast. So, if you kind of use that as your foundation and then deliver it in whatever way they're going to receive it best. Boy, that's where the clarity comes.
Okay. So as someone who works closely with owners, how do you help them shift from putting out fires to planning for the future?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a book by Elizabeth Dixon called the Strength of Purpose. And it really goes back to focusing on what's your purpose. If you're a firefighter, just keep putting out fires, honestly. But if you're a business owner with vision and you want to go further with your business, yeah, all of a sudden we need to figure out what's working, what's broken, what's missing, and what's confusing, and begin answering those questions. And so we can start making some strategic moves to take those things that are broken, move them to fixed, make those things that are confusing, and bring clarity around those. And so that's an exercise we typically go through about once a year, even internally with our team, to make sure we're moving the needle. So we're not just stuck in the firefighting mode.
Okay. Tax season can be stressful. What proactive steps can business owners take throughout the year to minimize a surprise?
Yeah, yeah. Well, use a fractional CFO for one. There's your sales pitch. Well, some of it is, yeah, for business owners, don't wait till the end of the year or after the end of the year to hand everything off to Ken May, CPA. Make sure that you're proactive. And really, a business owner should be using the numbers to help grow their business and make wise decisions. And so if they're using their numbers in those fashions, it just makes the tax season so much smoother. And really, there should be no surprises at that point. If you know your numbers all along the way, when you get to the end of the year, it should just be just part of the process versus, oh my goodness,
Yeah, as long as they give you all the information correct.
all the information. Yes, yes.
Yep.
Well, and
Trust
that's
and
part, I
verify.
think that's part of having somebody, whether it's a fractional type CFO or even a regular meeting with your CPA that just to make sure, yeah, hey, do we have all the information? Yeah, because yes, it is part of the business owner's responsibility to make sure, hey, do I have everything here? So,
Okay, so how has technology changed the way accounting and management services support small businesses today?
well, just what you and I are doing right now is a podcast. 25, 30 years ago, we probably been picking up a dial-up phone and,
Very much
well,
so.
maybe even, or probably mailing each other in the, snail mail. So I think, even communication, yes, there's a lot of technology, a lot of great analytics, AI, all kinds of things that that we're utilizing, but sometimes it's just basic communication like this, and I think that's where let's figure out how to use communication with today's technology. There's a great book, Erica Dawn, I believe is her name, and it's called Digital Body Language. And it's all about, again, having a conversation like this, or even texting and emailing and being more sensitive to how the digital language is interpreted. And so it can, you can say something and it be taken so wrong, or you can be, not paying attention in a Zoom call and looking down or answering your phone. That's gonna, you wouldn't do that if you're sitting across from somebody at a table on a table. So it's just learning new ways to manage this little, 2x2 box or whatever these Zoom boxes are, to communicate well. So I'd say communication is one. Is how do we do a better job using technology around communication?
Very true. And having an honest conversation is very important.
Imagine that. Imagine it.
Yes.
Yes.
And that one of the first things I do with a new client is one simple little sentence to them. I tell them this. I said, we're here to interview each other today. At the end of this interview, we're going to decide if we want to work together. But the
Yes.
relationship is going to be built on two pillars,
Yeah.
trust and honesty.
Yes.
And in over 40 some years of being in business, I've only had to walk away from two clients.
Wow.
And I think that's pretty impressive.
Yes. Yes.
But once you get people to start talking to you, they call me all the time, and that's the way I like my clients, because the
Yeah.
ones that don't talk, I don't want them as a client.
Yes. Yes.
They're a
Yeah.
liability. Okay,
Absolutely.
you often talk about freedom and peace of mind for owners. What
Mhm.
does that look like when a business finally gets its financial house in order?
Yeah, I was reminded of a company we worked with years ago, and they sold telephone systems and IT services, so that both technology type. And what was happening was their telephone side was losing money. And what was interesting is once we helped them identify that, they sold that off and really began doing extremely well on their IT management side. Well, that business owner, probably a few years into our work together, he said, "You know what? One of the biggest things you do is help me sleep at night." Wow, there's peace of mind right there. If I'm sleeping at night well, that's great. So we thought about our motto saying, "Hey, we'll put you to sleep," but that may not be the best tagline for a business. But anyway, but I would say that's a good end result, Ken, of peace of mind.
Very much so. I agree with you. For listeners ready to take control of their numbers, what's one actionable step they can take right after this episode?
Yeah. Well, one is look at your numbers for one, and if you don't understand them, reach out to somebody that that is going to help you interpret what's going on. That's get our tagline talks about get clarity, grow profits, and gain peace of mind. And that first step is just get clarity. And so how do I get clarity? If I don't understand, let me bring somebody along to help.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you, off on your website, you offer business owners a business health assessment.
Yeah.
What is that, and what does that do for them?
Well, and that's one of those get clarity kind of things. And so we put together an easy 5 question business health assessment that you can walk through, and it really evaluates, hey, am I doing well? Am I conquering, clear on my numbers and conquering the next hill? Or am I just lost at sea? I have no idea what's going on. And so it's a first step to just say, oh, I either need some help, or hey, I'm doing well. And there's some in between as well. But it's just a high level assessment. And then if they want to go further, there's opportunities. We're happy to have a one-on-one with them and talk further. But it's a great first step. If you're just questioning, hey, how am I doing? Yeah, it's a great step.
So, once they answer the 5 questions, does it give them some kind of a report or something then?
Yeah, it gives them a
Okay.
score. It gives them a scoring. Here's your scoring. Here's some steps or some areas of concern that you want to be mindful of or, take to somebody. So yes, it does give a nice summary of kind of
Oh, good.
what they should go with.
So many of your clients reach a point where they need deeper tax planning to protect what they've built. When that happens, how do you like to collaborate with tax specialists or other strategic partners to create more value for your clients?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So one of the neat things about, boy, 5, 6 years ago now, we were initially based in Kansas City, and when we went all virtual, we're really serving clients now in about 25 states. And so we often will look for CPAs that are really specialized in tax planning or wealth management people or even insurance agents. And so really looking for that team of experts that we can collaborate with because again, we don't want to wait to the year end and call Ken up and say, Ken, hey, we got a client we need you to do some tax work for. We should be having conversations throughout the year. Hey, here's
Right.
where we're at. Any movement or changes we need to make in the planning. So yeah, with those clients that are maybe a little more sophisticated or at that level, yeah, we're having regular conversations with those other professionals, such as tax planners throughout the year.
Okay, Rusty, that is all my questions for you. So I want to thank you so much for sharing your insights and expertise today. It's been a real pleasure. To our listeners, if you'd like to learn more about Rusty and his team, visit Fulling Management and Accounting Inc. at www.fullingmgmt.com or reach out to him directly at rusty at fullingmgmt.com. I'm Ken May, your guest host from BA Services Inc. and Overline IQ, reminding you to keep planning smarter, stay proactive, and as always, keep growing your business and your wealth.
Thanks, Ken.
You betcha. We're done.
We're done. You got to pause since the recording's still going. You got to
Well,
pause for a minute.
she'll take all
I
that
know.
out, so I'm not worried about that.
I
So
know. I
so
know.
so that's good. And
All
actually,
right. Well, that was your first one, it sounded like. How did it
yep,
go?
I thought it went pretty good myself. You know, it's kind of interactive,
It is.
and,
Yep.
and it's nice to learn about other people, how they
Yeah.
operate
Yeah.
versus how I operate. So
Yeah.
that leads me to this is a question kind of off the record. So
Yeah.
let's have another conversation down maybe after the holidays here about working together,
Mm. Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
open to that.
Well, as long as I get to go to Hawaii, which is in your background here. So,
Oh, well, I'll share my picture with you.
your real screen.
Yeah, that's
So,
my real screen. All right, Rusty, we'll be in touch.
hey, thanks a lot. Have a good
Okay,
day.
you
Thanks.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth. Gary Helt is excited to bring you another powerful conversation to help you grow and protect your business and finances. Today's episode is hosted by a special guest, personally selected by Gary, so you can keep learning and moving forward even when Gary is off the mic. Settle in and enjoy today's insights.